up so I can see it on my screen next to me. Then I won't have to put the comments and supersede over the content. I found this makes it much easier. Good morning, Shane. Welcome in, my friend. Really appreciate seeing you in here. Let's see. Perfect. JBHK, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod, my friend. Appreciate you guys. Rick, welcome in, and thanks for being a very trusted mod as always. Help keep this show in line. Have a blessed day to you, and I hope everybody else is having a blessed start to the day so far. Let me just switch the quality on here so I can see a little bit better. But yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. I really appreciate seeing everybody in here in the chat. Good morning. I see a lot of people tuning in or starting to find their way in here. Richie, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for 3+ months with the XP Meteor along with the Mando Shea. Welcome in. Sir Smokeslot, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor along with Jorge, who says, hello people, hello Tom. Everyone hit that like button and subscribe to Tom's channel for the best TA on YouTube. Much appreciate that, my friend. Blessed to have you in here. Moza here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Can't believe it's been that long. Armand, welcome in, friend, from the other side of the world. Big Dog, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for your first month with the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens, and that is my face superimposed on there. I kid you not. John Page, welcome in. And I love having the side screen because now I can see all the comments even when it's going too quickly. And it's a 32-inch screen, which we're still working on the updates in the morning, so I'm going to continue to make that visually more appealing. Yesterday it was a little hard to read because I'm trying to make it closer. But anyhow, I sound like an analog echo. I'm echoing. Is everybody hearing that? Here, let me turn my volume up on my screen so I can hear myself. Let's see what I sound like today. Here, let me turn my volume up on my screen so I can hear myself. Let's see what I sound like today. Here, let me turn my volume up on my screen so I can hear myself. I mean, if that doesn't sound awful. To me it sounded great, but I mean, if for some of you it's not, I apologize. We've tried to use headphones when I do this live, but it sounds better coming through my tablet without having anything on. It was designed that way. That's why I bought this tablet, because it's supposed to be really good for picking up quality. But anyhow, let me continue. I'll keep that into consideration. Cape Cod Kyle, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge, even though it's not showing up today, and being a very loyal supporter from Massachusetts. I love it. CVDM, welcome in. What's going on, my friend? Alec, good morning. Mario Louise Willamese, there's a name that I haven't called out in a while, and I love that name. Love it. Good morning to you, friend. Trading with Jay Wright, thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years with the XRP Diamond Hands badge. Arton says, we going to be millionaire or not? Tomei, man. Hey, we will be. We're working on it. We've gone from, in this community, 4 figures to over 6 if you've been watching. So we're on our way. We're on our way. It just takes time. It just takes time. Got to stay the course. Indy Red, welcome in. John Hall, already said good morning to John, but Mr. Hall, welcome in. I'm glad to see you in here. Joseph Euler, good morning, and thanks for being in Tom's for 3+ months with the XP Meteor, along with Richard Volkemer. Now I'm echoing. Some say I'm echoing. Oh, I was echoing because I had my TV on to the side. You were hearing me listen to myself. So yeah, I echoed for a second. Let's see. CJ2 Pilot, good morning. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year at the I Told You So badge. I like to go over and say hi to everybody as everybody's getting in, and then we get into it deeper, so I don't have to re-explain myself. Plus, I like to acknowledge my audience. Indy Red, welcome in. Caesar, good morning from California. Let's see. It's fine. Don't get distracted. Good morning, Timothy Perez. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XP Meteor. Jennifer Kupiak, love seeing that you're in here. Good morning. I hope the animals are doing good. I know across parts of the U.S. we've had some really wicked weather. Hopefully they've stayed safe and you've stayed good. I expanded on my garden. That's why I didn't do a live yesterday. I've been working in the garden for like, I don't even know, the past week. But I'm sunburned and, oh yeah. Let's see. I think we're all caught up. Well, Rob, good morning. Daytona, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Arm for your second month with Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Jennifer says they're treating me well today. Excellent, excellent. So let's get into the charts and stuff here. So big stuff that's happened. So I know some of you are aware that Judge Torres denied the motion, and you can see it on the front page, but I actually have a different article. But key fact today, on May 15th, 2025, a New York judge denied Ripple's motion to settle with the SEC, blocking a $50 million fine reduction and permanent injunction lift, delaying the case. And basically, the judge denies Ripple SEC motion over XRP. And then that's the one I want to read, but we can read the headlines before we get into the actual article but the judge rejects SEC and Ripple's proposed settlement deal, upholds $125 million penalty. So she refused to lower it to $50 million. So whether SEC and Ripple agreed to this price, that judge said, no. I put $125 million in for a reason. And the thing that bothers me here, you can't tell me that somebody along the way didn't realize that this wasn't going to go through. So again, it's just like another way for them to prop up the pricing. And it brings it into more of an equilibrium here. If something like this is going to transpire, and now all of a sudden we got to take months or even years to get through this part of this BS, because now we know we're going to take a few months to get to the next part. Does that mean what we were seeing now, and this is why I love doing this on my tablet for the lives, it's just the efficiency, the speed, the ease of access. And I don't think in the morning with the way that I'm switching the updates is better. I just think it gives a different way to visually see this. Now, we know when we had these corrections back here, the wave 4 was very lengthy, December of 2013, until it was ready to pop, all the way until March of 2017. I mean, you're talking, that's a lengthy amount of time. You're talking almost over 4 years, no, about 3.5 years there. You're talking 3.5 years. And for I think there's 80 people watching. Thank you for watching, and make sure to hit that like button so we can try to appeal to some others. Some people aren't going to like this style update because it's not all bullish, but it's what you need to know. So that was 3.5 years, and we're building into something. So if you stick around, I promise it's going to be worth your time this morning. Most people will leave, though. So when we came here this time around, all of a sudden we started again, went over. Well, we already know it was a failed because the third wave is bigger than the fifth, and that's a no-no. So that's a failed wave anyhow, a failed fifth wave. So when you're looking at, not to mention this is greater or not, it breaks a lot of the rules of the wick off. But just for transparency's sake, we know the first time it took 3.5 years for this wave 4 to finish. Now we start in January of 2018, and before we kick, like we bottomed here, but before we actually kick out, you can come all the way to here when we finally kick. And that brings us into December of 2020 from January of 18. So now you're talking a couple of years here again for this to happen. So actually it's 21. January of 21 from 18. So 3 years. So the first time took 3.5 years for wave 3 to get the 4, or the wave 4 correction to end. The second time as we redid this, it took us, 3 years to get through this. So now we're talking 3 and 3.5 years. So 3.25 year average. Obviously, this was a failed wave. And then I believe it was failed for a reason. And we'll get to that in a sec. But then we went into a WXY correction. And then if we come over here and we say, well, it's going to take the same amount of time. We've talked about this so many times that if that's not appropriate and we have to come 3.5 years, well, we hit wave 4. What is this? January of 2000. Isn't it funny how it keeps happening in January? January of 2025. And now if we go 3 years out, that puts us into 28. I mean, you're talking legitimately that you could pull yourself all the way out into this range. And then like we talked about on the bottom, if we come back to supply, then maybe it could be something like this as well. And the significance of that area, and I'm not saying that's what it's going to do, but that would fill that fair value gap that we started at the very beginning of this rally. But I don't necessarily think we're going to go way down there, but it's to give you like a hyperbole view here of, hey, if we take the 5 waves like we did before, and the 4th wave takes 3.5 years, that's how long it would take, and that's what it would look like. So everything in between would be chopped. So basically, this is what your future for the next, 2.5 years is going to be. If it does the same thing we did in the first 2 cycles, you would chop all the way through and poof. But then if you do it like that, that's going to be so super bullish, because then you're going to end up, that's when you get into the chopping, and this is what you want. This is when you would get into the hyper bullish scenario. Like, a lot of people would see this as, oh my God, this is horrible. This is hyper bullish if this happens. And we could see a scenario where this is building. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Doesn't everybody see, like, how this would look so similar to the prior? Look at how similar this would be if we drag on. It needs to drag on. It always does. Look at the length of time it drags on here in supply. Look at the length of time it drags on when we get back in from consolidation into supply. But because it was such an overreach, it failed to wick off. But you can still look at it as a 5-wave failure, just so you can see where you're resetting on the. And I like the 3-wave correction at WXY. You can call it 1, 2, 3, ABC. I'm out of here. Whatever you want is 3 phrases. It doesn't really matter to me. But good morning. 9:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Saturday, May 17th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I love doing the setup like this for the lives now. It's going to add a lot of intrigue. Once the market gets back into a bullish scenario, when people come back in 2 years, they're going to say, holy hell, what's going on in this community? It's a lot different than the last time I was here. Now, it might not take 2 years, but you get the picture. Let's see. Will Rob welcome in, says 2 guns. Tommy, good morning. Good morning, my friend. Daytona Crazy, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Zone for your 2nd month with the Dusty's Outhouse Crypto News. Let's see. Crazy Dust Storm by Joseph Euler. You please be safe, my friend. That's an interesting scenario. I'll be darned. I would be it'd be weird to have a dust storm over here right now, but it wouldn't be good for my gardens. I guess it wouldn't be awful. Just gets pretty windy. Jennifer says, I need to plant my herbs. Got my veggies planted and bee flowers planted. Excellent. I have a natural one in the backyard that grows. It almost looks like, I think it's the tree of heaven or something, but it almost looks like bamboo, but nature, like the other form of bamboo, like over here in Michigan. But it looks like bamboo if you break it open, water stored in it, but honeybees love it. So I let it grow wildly in my backyard, and I keep it on the border, and there's like thousands of honeybees that end up coming back there every year. So I think I'm gonna buy a bee house for them. But I also, Jennifer, I planted my herbs. I have fruits, vegetables. My peach trees are looking fucking fantastic this year, which I'm very happy about. But anyhow, gotta stay on track. But while you brought that up, because a lot of people like to see what I'm doing in my, it logged out. Well, that's okay. That's okay. I'm not surprised by that, but just think of this as, if we have a lengthy consolidation, it's not bad. This isn't a bad thing. This is good, because then we're filling out exactly what we need. We're going to end up filling out what we need to do. I'm surprised more people. Nah, I take that back. I'm never surprised by anything anymore. But I always become surprised when you start to see something unfold and you're like, okay, if I was an investor of something, this is exactly what I would want to know. This is exactly what I wish somebody would have told me when I couldn't figure it out myself. And then when you start doing it and you see how people like get thrown off by, oh, we're going down, we could be stuck in this consolidation, yada, yada, yada. And then people are like, nope, just done. I'll see you in 6 months, a year, and then I'll figure out what I need to do. It's like, wouldn't you like to know what's happening all the way through there so that you can buy exactly where the bottom is, or exactly how you switch from a 4-figure style portfolio. How do you turn it into 5? How do you turn it into 6? How do we become the eventual millionaires? How did they do it from the bottom up? Like, this is how we do it. But you have to be present in these moments. Like, if you're not present in this moment, when we get to the bottom, there's no point of being present in that moment because you're already going to miss the opportunity, like right now. If you're watching, we know those zones, but what are you looking at right now? We broke through 234. So what have we said since the beginning of time? If this structure breaks, which it looks like there's not much holding it up after what's happened. 215 is on deck. So what does that tell you if you're watching right now? Well, if we're at 215 in this descending triangle, we talked earlier that we broke out too early. We got a double top. Typically, when you're in a situation like this, it takes 70% of the move to break out. And we've talked very diligently. Is that 70% of the move? I don't think so. If the move started... Here, fine. Easier way. If the move started December of 24 and the estimated apex would be... We got to do this right, and it's got to be the top. It can't be the micro apex because the micro movement is just at it, but it should meet in the exacts. So let's put this in the daily. So we know it started December of 24, September of 25. So does it seem like if this is September of 25, and let's put a price note. How about this? Let's put a price note so we can gauge now going forward where the 70% of the move is going to be. Because I think that's where we get caught up a lot. Because we always see this early break. I'm like, all right, here's where we go. But then we have to realize most of the time, you're not breaking out until after, you know, the move. God, it sucks sometimes when you actually understand this stuff. But, all right, so... So the apex of pattern consolidation. September 2026. So that would be the apex of this move. So if the apex, and this is just a price note so that I can remember, so that you can remember, and we'll throw it like this. But that's the apex of this pattern consolidation is September of 26. So if we know it's in September of 26 and it started in December, we're January, February, March, April, May. That's 5 months. The problem with that is we need to go 21 months. So 12 months from January to January, 13 for February, March, April, May. So, So February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we need 20 solid months. And we've gone 5, which means 70% of the move is going to be between that 13th and 14th month probably. Well, the 13th or 14th month, that puts us April or May of next year is when this move is technically 70% of the way. Now, we can technically break out sooner, but it is absolutely vital that we hold this uptrending support because this is where we have that mid-tier range. If we can hold the mid-tier, we don't have to go all the way back down and take this lengthy. So this is where you can hold, and this would put us somewhere around the apex June of this year. And that would mean that we prematurely break out. We back test this by June 7th or so. We ride down this most likely in some kind of, in some kind of fashion that would put us something like this. And this is just kind of being like progressive with this pattern. You either do this, come out, see how you can create this. You have a nice inverse head and shoulders. So that's what we would need to do if we come through here. So that's what I would be looking for. Or the lengthy, you know, the drag out. But it'd be more likely that first scenario would play out in an event like this, if I had to guess. But, you know, that's why we're here. That's why we speculate. That's why being here on a day when the charts don't seem like it's interesting is when they are the most interesting. Because anybody can come on when we have a big red or big green candle. But what are you going to do in the micro moment? What are you going to do in the middle of these moments and these moves? And like the most fun I have is trying to figure out what the hell is going to happen. And then like I got some great news of what I'm working on right now. There's going to be something. Oh man, I know I haven't talked about it at all, but soon there's going to be somewhere to go to look at my stuff even deeper, which is going to be pretty amazing. Doesn't cost anything. So my garden real quickly, since let's see if it even sent all of my pictures. Let's see. It did not send all of my pictures. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it did. Maybe it's still... Oh, here we go. But that's not all of them. It's been a work in progress. It's been a work... But the peaches are coming on nice. See the little peaches? My little guys, I got 2 trees and I cross-pollinated them myself. Look at those little peaches. There's so many of them. They're doing so good. I'm so happy. And I know some people are going to be like, this isn't technical analysis. This is how I break it up, okay? This is how I stay. That's a potato garden. That whole thing on the bottom is potatoes. And a couple of them are starting to come up. Then I got that part of the garden. Too bad it's not showing the best parts. Let's see. Well, I'll continue to talk, but I want to send the rest of it so you guys can see what I actually did. But then I'm going to show you an idea that I'm divulging on as well, but there's going to be something really cool with the programming as well, with something that you're going to be able to do even if you're not watching me live, which is pretty cool. Well, even when I'm not on, so to say, let's just say. And it's innovative for what I'm doing. But anyhow, what do you think of that setup? What do we think about that setup? Do you think it's possible? Just out of curiosity. Do you think that setup's possible, or do you think it's impossible? I always like to know what the audience thinks, because I know what I think. Nothing's impossible. I like reading what some people are saying about why Judge Torres threw it out. I mean, you never know. That is definitely a possibility. That is definitely a possibility. But I don't think that's why. I don't think she's, I'm not necessarily sure she's just going to throw it out with no fine attached at all, because wouldn't that kind of make her initial argument void? You know, she's not going to try to make herself look bad in the process either, you know. So we have to look at it from that regard, like, hey, you know, this is very much, she's trying to save face on her own allegations of what she thought was going on here as well. So, I mean, it's not just so, I don't know. I see a lot of BS happening here, because you can't tell me that somebody somewhere didn't see all of this. I don't know. Just like you can't tell me that they didn't know this was coming. But, anyhow, we'll get back on track. I just wanted to finish showing some of these real quick, because it's been a lot of work. Squash and, what is that, cucumbers. There's a lot of stuff. These are the herbs so far. That's a watermelon patch that I built. Took a long time. That's the watermelon herbs. That's that. That's strawberries already flowering. A couple tomatoes. And then like green beans and all that other crap. Carrots and yada yada yada. There's a lot of stuff this year. There's these are eggplant in the front. But I had to space them out. There's corn on the left. Yeah, so it's gonna be pretty nice. I think it's gonna be pretty nice. It's a good way to stay balanced too. But I gotta read this too. I want to read through this. It's only been 23 minutes, so we've got time. Yeah, go take a shower. So we've got time. We're gonna read through this article in just a sec here. Let's see. Oh, you think my Michigan belt's awesome? Wait till you see the second belt that's on its way. That's the one that I have is the championship belt, but it doesn't say the title year. This one that I have shows the Big Ten championships and the 2023 national championships, but it's in the process. Messi, $5 to $6 in 5 to 6 weeks. I hope so. Ain't seen 1970 Legend in a while. Where you been? Yeah, I know 1970 Legend. I haven't seen him in a while either. They won the championship and he left. No. George says the proposed clause they would settle was also wrong. Indeed it was, George. Indeed it was. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 6 months with the XP Predictor, along with Sir Smokes a lot. I appreciate you guys. Let's see what else. Anything else I need to read? Mark Caston, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. September of 25, not 26. Is that... What did I do wrong? Did I hit 26 instead of 25? I better go back to that chart then. Which one did I have it on right here? Oh yeah, that is 25. So what am I talking about? Thank you for correcting me. Look at me. That's a big piece of information. So, let's see. So if it's September of 25 and it started December of 24, or what was this? December of 24. So that would put us January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So 9 months. I mean, technically, if we hold the back test, we don't have to come back down. And that would be, if we back tested here, that would be in June. That's got to be about 70% of the move. Maybe that is what it's setting up for, that inverse head and shoulder hit. That would be great. If we could stay on this side of town, it would be friggin' fantastic. This is the most bullish way. I hope it plays this route. Let me redraw this because I had it in the higher time frame, so now it's going to look weird unless I put it in the lower time frame with the drawing. But yeah, that's absolutely true. So that could be why it's showing a setup almost like this. I think this would be the best way. Look how that would bounce out of here. You'd fall into an inverse head, into an inverse right. Oh my God, that would be so perfect. That would be the perfect scenario. But anyhow, let's get into this reading. A little bit after this, I'm walking up into town because they have a farmer's market. But then I got to go to my uncle's surprise. He turned 60, so we're having like a surprise party. So I got to go there at like 2. Judge rejects proposed settlement. Which one did I want? Nah, we'll just do this one. Because it's about, we have to go over how they're going to rework the settlement. So we have to find one that actually talks about that. So here, let's read this. So judge rejects SEC and Ripple's bid to rework XRP settlement. So U.S. District Judge Annalisa Perez said Thursday that even if she had jurisdiction, she would still deny the motion as procedurally improper. So a federal judge denied SEC Ripple settlement due to procedural errors in their joint filings. The proposed deal would have reduced Ripple's fine from $125 million to $50 million, ending a 4-year legal battle. Both parties remain committed to resolution despite the setback, with XRP trading at $2.42. A federal judge has denied a joint bid by the SEC and Ripple Labs to approve their settlement, citing procedural errors just weeks after both sides agreed to drop their appeals and end a 4-year legal battle. U.S. District Judge Annalisa Perez said Thursday that even if she had jurisdiction, she would still deny the motion as procedurally improper. The SEC and Ripple had filed for an indicative ruling, a non-binding signal from the court that it would accept a deal dissolving Ripple's injunction and reducing a $125 million fine to $50 million. Such rulings are used when a case is on appeal and the trial court no longer has authority to act. In this instance, jurisdiction rested with the Second Circuit, where both parties filed cross appeals after the final judgment in August 2024. Last month, Ripple Labs and the SEC jointly filed a request to the Second Circuit to suspend those appeals as they pursue a negotiated resolution of their case. The filing also confirmed that the SEC would drop its October appeal. However, the Second Circuit has not yet ruled on that request. But the recent filing to Judge Perez bypassed Rule 60 of Civil Procedure, which governs relief from final judgments, and failed to demonstrate the exceptional circumstances required under the standard. The parties have made no effort to satisfy that burden here. The request does not even mention the rule. Therese wrote in the May 15th order. So the lawsuit dates back to December 2020 when the SEC accused Ripple of raising $1.3 billion through unregistered XRP sales. We already know the history, but if you don't, in July of 2023, Judge Therese ruled that institutional sales violated security laws, but that exchange-based retail sales did not, triggering a ray of optimism in the crypto industry. Since Donald Trump's return to office, the SEC, under leadership of former acting chair Mark IOTA, has scaled back crypto enforcement, has it? Haven't noticed. Lawsuits against Coinbase, Kraken, and many other have been dropped, and new SEC Chair Paul Atkins, confirmed by the Senate last month, is expected to take a far more lenient stance. They keep saying that, but I haven't seen a more lenient stance. It's just becoming a more bigger pain in the ass for me personally. You too, if you trade crypto. In its last week announcement, the SEC formally confirmed the $50 million deal. Ripple will pay the reduced fine with the remaining $75 million in escrow returned to the company. Nothing in today's order changes Ripple's win. Ripple's CLO, Chief Legal Officer, Stuart Elderody, tweeted following the judge's order, Ripple and the Securities and Exchange Commission are fully in agreement to resolve this case and will revisit this issue with the court together. XRP, which has surged over 366% for the past year, was down 1.6% on the day. Now it's down even farther. The next thing I want to go through, for anybody who actually sat through this for the first half hour, you'll benefit here a little bit. We're going through the liquidation heat map, and I want to do it in a very real way here. We're going to start off with, I want to start off with XRP. I mean, we could start with Bitcoin, but I'm not interested in starting with Bitcoin. We'll go to Bitcoin after, but I want to go through XRP, and I want to go through it on a monthly perspective, and I want to see exactly where these big liquidity zones are setting up, and I want to see the optics of, are we going to come all the way down? Like, is this a topping reverse, or do we just have to step down like we talked about? You know, there's a few different things. There's a few little things that I want to go over. Let's see what Viridius looks like right now. It's not as appealing. I kind of like it the other way, maybe. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see. Got to see which way is more visually appealing for me. I don't mind that. That's not awful. Nah, I think, it's not awful. So, when you're looking at this, we do have one big area up here, but it's not huge. These aren't huge areas over the top anymore. Rick, use copper in the garden. Yes, I've definitely heard that. I definitely heard that before, Rick. I've read about it, too. That's good advice. Fawaka has a food garden. Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, the peaches are looking excellent already. This is the third year I've had the one peach tree, the second year with the other, but you need a second one so that you can pollinate. So we cross-pollinated them with the flowers. Me too. I'm waiting on my cannabis plants. I ordered some seeds. It's taken. They should be here either Monday or Tuesday this week, and then I'll be starting those. I have a separate area that I haven't even cut out yet. You see grass in the one picture. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to put a couple plants in there. And then I'm going to have some in pots on the top of the potato garden on those shelves I put on that I built. So I'm going to be doing a comparison between in the ground and potted outside in the greenhouse. So Joseph, on the same page. Shadow heard XRP can go back to $1. I hope it does. Is buying the dips and selling the highs with the news. Absolutely, Shadow. It could. That's why we talked about that gap at 95 cents. See money, we don't know. That's why we are watching. That's a good point. Alec, I think it's likely, but big money moves with trade deals. One big stall tactic. I agree with that, B. It is one big stall tactic. John Bugathorpe, welcome in. I appreciate seeing you here, my friend. Yep, that big dog. That's the speculation that the paperwork just wasn't filed properly. So, but it still stalls everything. And here's the thing. This is what I kept saying. You can't tell me nobody realized that something wasn't wrong. This is what I mean. You can't tell me nobody, when they were filing it, from the SEC to Ripple to the people who were overseeing the papers, you can't tell me they didn't know it wasn't filed wrong. So it's just one big optic. The USA isn't ready to go digital yet, so we have to use these stall tactics until, I believe, somewhere around 2028. It's just my opinion. It doesn't mean our price doesn't appreciate, as we've seen it has over the years. Matt Grimes, welcome in. Toaster says the entire market is correcting together. The court nonsense has zero to do with any drops. Yep. I never said it was the reason. But if the court wouldn't have announced that Ripple is dropping a little bit harder, or XRP is dropping harder, so it was a correlation for retail not to be buying and then in the dips. So yes and no. You got to be a little bit more open-minded than just, no, son of a bitch, XRP's going down just like the rest. There's a reason for XRP why retail's not buying it right now as well. So I like to look at it from a overall, like a let's just say you have a view. Most people are looking at it at eye level. I'm looking at it from a fucking drone above from like 10,000 feet, so I can see every minute thing that's happening below, even if it looks like ants. Let's see. Pump Master Flash, Canto is leading the market. Absolutely is. And we talked about Canto with Bitcoin, or with Ethereum, that kind of goes backwards. And then it does it after, and that's what it's starting to do. Tanya, good morning, says it's just noise. Thank you, love, for being in Tom's Army for over 3 years now with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Incredible. Incredible. Hope your morning started out blessed. Oliver Max says better in here late than not. Good morning. Good morning to you as well, Oliver, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Tell the news. Tell the news and show you the charts. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing, Matt. So if we look at the heat liquidation map, this is the monthly. So over the top, you got a little bit of liquidation around 265. But remember, we tapped into that zone twice. See the double top? So now we look below. We're going into this heavy liquidity zone. Now we've got 89 million. Nothing major. We've got down here 111. That's about our strongest areas down here. Down near $2.06, 204. Yeah, it's somewhere in these areas are our strong points. Do we come down there? That's the question. That's the question. And if we look at the chart, what does that line up with? So 207. If we're talking about that inverse head, if we can put that in. Why is it? Oh, I didn't even realize that was still drawn. I'm like, what is going on here? But if that inverse head gets put in, if it does something like this, we see that long liquidity around 207, 206. Well, this is why I like to look at both, because now we look at the liquidity zones and we go to 206. What's down in that area? That's where the liquidity box starts. See that? So this is all relevant. If you start to look at this properly, what is this? Like, look, if you hone in. The biggest liquidity zone is 103.9 million, somewhere around this area at 2064. What of significance on our charts at 2064? Well, as we were speculating this, 2068 roughly, this 206 area, where we bounce down to 206 in our expectation, if this is going to hold, or 207, you can, whatever, it's that same spot. But that box is telling us, when we look at the heat liquidation map, that there's something to pay attention to in that area. Like, you can see it. There's a big liquidation hub right there. So that could be a spot where we could resupply. Like, that could be a spot where there's some demand, you know? Now, where does that put us as far as our supply, demand, and distribution if we go down to 206? You're still, I mean, it's amazing, right, how all of this starts to line up. You're retesting the distribution box as support. So if we come down to 206, not only are we retesting that inverse head and shoulders area, but that also brings us right back down to retest distribution as support here. And also validate a big inverse head and shoulders. So, I mean, look at all of the things that are pointing to that area. So is it a better chance that we avoid going back to 205, 206, 207 area? Or does it seem like that's exactly where we need to go? You're damn right it is, Matt. Show me the charts and I'll tell you the news. That I agree with. That I agree with. That's what I've always said. If you know the charts, you know the news. So, like, you can stay ahead of the news. And when we got double rejected at 265, something wasn't right, and then that news came out. So, you know, it is what it is in that regard. So now, let's take a look at Bitcoin, and then we'll go into the heat liquidation map and see what it's telling us. So Bitcoin, we drew this out last week and said if this is an inverse head and shoulders, as much as we want this to break out now, it can't. It can't. It's got to retest the what is the conceived neckline here, but also you got to make the inverse right arm look like the left side. And yes, I acknowledge, I think that this cup and handle is broken out and it's a much bigger cup and handle than the short term. And that's why I think, what the hell is that noise? Damn, they're doing some work out there. I'm like, what the fuck is that? But that's why we're looking to see how this is going to play out. So then we look at this and we say, well, if the inverse right arm comes somewhere near 88, 89, 90,000, what's the heat liquidation map look like on Bitcoin? I'll be curious to look at it with all of you because I don't know. I haven't looked at it. And like, if you're doing stuff on your own, do it like this. Start to match your sections. Okay, well, my chart shows this. Where's the liquidity zones? Where could people be shorting the market? Where could they be longing the market in the futures? And now remember that 88. I'm telling you guys, this is the best tool you'll ever use. So the chart shows if the inverse head and shoulders has to come down, it would be around that 88 to 90K area, right? Probably closer to 88 or 90. Well, now we look down here and we're like, well, what liquidity area passes us over here? Huh. Look at that. That's some pretty big liquidity down there near 89 and 90K, isn't it? 90K, 484 million. What does this chart show us? Let's do this properly. Let's put this line here real quick. This is your head and shoulders, or your inverse head and shoulders line right there. Like, look at that. Now, I'm just saying, like, if that's what needs to happen, and we've got that liquidity down there, we can see it's down there. So there's nothing, if it needs to come down there, there's plenty of, let's just put it this way, there's plenty of buyers that will stack themselves down there with what we're seeing on the heat liquidation map. So there's an area there where absolutely there's liquidations down there because that's the long traders will be liquidated. So that's a way to get rid of the longs if it's going to have another move up. So we have to pay attention to this. B says, that is the only reason I'm holding because I hate XRP for its games. That's fair, but you're also holding because we haven't finished its 5-wave move, let's be honest. Like, we can all say, I understand we all hate the games, but here's the reality with XRP. We've had a lot of games, but is it true or false that XRP last July or August was at 38 cents, and we're the next calendar year in May, not even 1 year later, and we're at $2 and respectively $2.30. What are we at right now? Just in real time, $2.32. So yes, I understand the games, but we have to keep it in perspective. If I told you in 1 calendar year your investment from 38 cents would be at $2.32, what would you have said? You're out of your fucking mind. XRP never moves. Yet here we are. So yeah, that's what I fully anticipate. I also have been very, very strongly spoken about that fair value gap on XRP at $1.50. Let's see what it looks like on the liquidation map if we can get down to $1.50 and see what it looks like. Probably won't be extreme at this point, but I want to see if there's any validity down there. Probably can't even get down there though. It's so far out. I might have to pull this into... No. Let me put this into... I have an idea. Put it in the monthly and then put it in full screen and see what happens. Yeah, see, we're only going to be able to come down here. Yeah, so we're not going to be able to see the lower boundaries as of right now. But we will soon. We will. And then I guess we should look at Ethereum real quick. Because Ethereum is what... technically is what curves alt season for us, so we should definitely look at this as well. Ooh, god damn. That's just a little blimp on the radar. Yeah, what exactly is that? Oh my God. Well, I don't want to be the bearer of, oh shit. Does anybody else see that liquidation down there for the longs on the Ethereum? Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah, I didn't say B statement doesn't hold water. I'm just saying don't be a victim to the game. Every single token has the same bullshit game. My mining stocks do the same thing. The US dollar does the same thing. The government bonds do the same thing. You know, oil, precious metals, Forex, the stock market, energy, all of it does the same. No matter what you buy, you're going to say, look at this bullshit. It's going up and down, left and right, everywhere but Mars. In fact, I've seen the fucking bottom of the pits more times than I've seen the beauty of the promised land, right? When you're holding a stock. That's why they always say it's about timing of the market, not about time of holding. That's what I say. It's not about how much time you hold an asset. It's about the timing of buying said asset. It's timing the market. And by timing the market, you're going to have to understand technicals, how it presents the news. And then if you can align your technicals with, hey, here's a monthly heat liquidation map. 1.65 billion in liquidation on Ethereum at $1,728. Well, let's take a look at the Ethereum chart and be like, what the hell is that 1,728? And if it has to come down there, that's a $700 move, which means, do you know how much of a move that's like a 30% move on Ethereum to the downside if that happens. Or like, yeah, oh my. And look, we got rejected so far at the rising channel, which that's a no-no. But we have to create the inverse right arm. So if we want to test, oh man, if we test this, we've already done this. But if we want to create the wider pattern and back test this, you could absolutely, oh fuck, you can make a case. You can absolutely make the case. I'm going to tell you why. That we're going to come back down there. This might be ugly for the next few weeks. Ooh, can we make this not so bad? I'm gonna do for argument's sake because we already formed that side that we could, in theory. Nah, there's no way to fix that if it comes through. Ooh. That's not. Fuck, man, that puts us right in that area, even if we backtest the neckline area. Everything, that's interesting. Everything is pointing right to that spot for Ethereum on a retrace. The only thing that can stop this is holding the 200-day. Otherwise, I mean, it's going to come down to 2250 regardless. So basically, we need to hold 2,420, let's say. Now, let's give it grace, 2,400. If you see it below 2,400, we could get some kind of 25% drop. Let's see. Titty Winks. Thank you. Tiddly Winks. Thank you for the $9.99 donation. Did I call him Titty Winks? Tiddly Winks. Thanks for the $9.99 donation. Says, thanks, Tom. Can we get back to 260 in the next week? What do you see the XRP price going to if SPY ETFs are approved? We would have some appreciation, but I don't think we're getting to 260 in the next. Because it looks like we're taking that push to consolidation back down to the consolidation, so into the support tab. So I don't think we're going to get to 260 in the next week unless we volatilely go back down to that support structure in a very fast way and form some kind of setup like this. I don't think you're going to be able to do it unless you hold over the top. And we already got a double top rejection at 265, which is a bad sign for the short-term move up. Like we wanted to break 265 and get rejected at 294, then back test 265 to make it past. Now we're doing it kind of backwards in a good way because we're back testing the old areas, which is fine. Up to 265, back to 207, up to like 225, back to 211, back up to, and then we can do it by steps. You like this setup? I like this setup too. I like this setup. The lives are going to be freaking fire from now on because I have it way better. And then by switching the morning update to where you're not seeing a screen recording, you have to look at it from a different perspective of a different screen, and it's a different visual. So different ways of learning mean different ways of understanding and different ways of remembrance. I'm a visual learner as well as a learner from listening to somebody else talk. I can read too, but I like to listen and see. Like when I used to play music on the drums, I didn't read the music. I could listen to it by sound, and if I could see somebody talking about it, I could learn it. You know, I could start to read the music, but I'm better visual and, you know, actually listening to somebody. So if I can hear and see what I'm doing and then see it in multiple ways, I learn more. So if Bitcoin goes on a rip up, it should drag most coins up. Absolutely, it should. Now, as somebody was stating, Matt Grimes, while we still have time, because it's been 50 minutes and we're about, you know, we're getting closer to the end here. I got some stuff to do before my Uncle John's surprise birthday party and yada, yada, yada. I want to go to the farmer's market, but Bitcoin dominance, this is where we need this to get the rejection because it's coming back up. And the problem is if this holds, it looks like it's putting in a big reversal here. If this breaks out, we're going to go. Let's just say we get back up and this doesn't hold at 64 and 65.4. We're going to come up to that, all the way up to possibly 72. And that's when I drew this in and said, you know, that's the top line where it could come up for a rejection, even if bearish. We need this bearish pennant for Bitcoin to play out over time in Bitcoin dominance, because that shows you as the years go on, by the time we get to the year 2032 approximately, Bitcoin dominance would start breaking down, and then probably you forward project it somewhere out here. But it would take time, and it would come down to zero by, you know, 20, or it would come down to 8.5%, you know, as you get closer to the 2035 time frame. But that's a long ways to go still. But, you know, the years go on. By the time I'm like 49, 50, that'll be to that side. But it takes time. It takes time. For anybody who says it doesn't, they're a little short-sighted. Cantal, we can go over. Up 1.38% right now at 998. But, you know, we don't know if it's rounding that bottom yet. We don't know if this is what it's doing. We can only watch. We can only watch. It is on the top of a short-term breakout, which that's why we're looking at it from the micro. It's back-tested it. It's trying to. If it can hold it, that's a great 3 or 4 hour candle there, too, because it came down to liquidity and it pulled back up. That's an extremely bullish candle. That looks like an inverse head and shoulders that stayed intact in the short term. And if it holds, you know, we're going to retest up here. It's only like a 25% move. But, you know, it is something of significance if it does start breaking back towards that direction. And it's dropped off so much that eventually it's going to have to do it. I know MXC was starting to try to retest a reversal here. I was looking at, I don't know where the chart's at, but it's not hard to get it back. Which chart was it? That would have been the breakout. That's not the right chart. We need the other one. Yeah, right here. This is how it could break out, which is why I like this one. So it initially came through, but if we can hold this, we could technically break through. Now, I'm telling you right now, if this comes back through and doesn't hold, now we have the evidence here, so we don't have to guess. I would dare say it's more like something like this would be the most appropriate, I would say. Because we have the evidence, so the worst thing you can do when you have the evidence is not take it at face value. So if this doesn't break out of this and it breaks down, it's a big problem. It's a big problem, because then we're going to melt down back to at least this drop point, which scares me that we haven't come back down there at all. I'll be honest. It scares me we haven't come back down there. So you can be positive here, but just have the understanding, the basic understanding while you're still here with me. And I'm going to show you something that's going to change this program a lot if you stick around for the next couple of minutes. Joseph, thank you so much for the $20 donation. Says, thanks for all you do, friend. I really appreciate that. Holy shit. Wow. And thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Matt Grimes says, check out the Bitcoin dominance chart and lay the M2 money supply on top. I've done that. We've done that. We've definitely done that. Wonder if that's still in my, We've shown the Bitcoin, well, I haven't done it with Bitcoin dominance, but I showed one where it showed the Bitcoin or the Bitcoin price in relation to the M2 money supply. I still have it on here in one of my pictures. I don't know if I saved it. This will have to be for a future. Oh, right here. I'll share this. This is, but I mean, obviously this isn't updated to today. This is from a couple days ago, but you can still see the similarities to it from the price to the M2 money supply real quick. So that's how it was following it, but Bitcoin obviously has moved a little bit. Well, it's pretty much in the same spot. But we can see how that chart follows it. So I mean, you're not wrong. It's definitely following it. So I mean, it's pretty cool when you look at it that way, and there's a 108-day offset. So it's 108 days behind technically, so it is a small dragon pattern. You're definitely right about that. It just, we haven't illuminated into it yet until we get to that part. But the one thing I want to show you guys is this. And this is almost like an exclusive if you're still here. But I've been working on something privately, and this is a mock-up right now of where we're at. So, and it's going to be a little bit deeper than this as well, but I have a website. It's not set up yet, but it's XRPFutureMillionaire.com. And this is going to have, when it gets to it, there's going to be 24/7 real-time updating of the XRP price on here. It's going to show some of the pricing points on different exchanges. And then there's going to be news headlines that pop up on here as well. There's going to be different ways about the show and things like that. And there's just going to be different things, ways to get to the my channel. There's going to be news articles and things like that that are related to XRP, and a whole bunch of different tokens and things like that as well on the website. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm in development right now. I've been working on it for about the last week, but this is going to be popping by the time it's done. That's just a mock-up right now. I'm working with somebody. I already bought the website domain. I already bought XRPFutureMillionaire.com. It's mine. I've already done that. That's a step I already took. I wouldn't dare talk about it without doing that. But it doesn't look like anything right now, but you can go to it. It's definitely my website. I'm just developing it right now. So it's under construction, let's just say. See? Under development. It's under development. So that's and I'm not charging for any of that crap. You know, you guys can go to the website when it's ready. It's going to have and this is my idea. I've had live 24/7 pricing. It's going to have the news. I wanted them to have a bunch of different pricing sources so we could see the pricing, the volume right on the page. We could see the liquidity score on all exchanges, the confidence level, the volume percentages on the exchange. So like if you go to it and you're like, oh, KX has this amount of volume, that's 1.93% of the volume for XRP. Well, let's just say you use KuCoin. KuCoin has 2.15% of the total volume of XRP. So yeah, I could definitely have some kind of merchandise on there, but I'm not looking at it for a big profitability thing. I'm looking at it more so we can get everybody together. Yeah, I can definitely create a spot for reviews. Absolutely. I will create a spot for reviews. Here, I'll actually send a message. Here, I'm gonna take a screenshot of what you guys are saying, and I'm gonna send it to my So instead of me doing the website development, I actually paid somebody to who's really good at it. And if you want to know the truth, I invested $700 into this project. I paid $700 so that I could make this look the way I want it to. So that's what it cost me. Like I said, I throw everything back that I get, well, not everything, but a lot of it from the support from all of you. I throw it back into the show, and I want this to start getting better and better and better. Oh yeah, the Fear and Greed Index I put on there as well. Did they put it in the mock-up? I know I had it on here. Where the hell is the Fear and Greed? I know it's here somewhere. Where the hell is the Fear and Greed? I know I seen it. I'm looking at so much. Or did I not have it on here? Did they not put it on here? Oh, yeah, it is on here. Okay. I just don't know where it's at because I'm, I know it's on here somewhere. Audience ideas for website. They want merchandise. And, oh, here. All right, thank you for the ideas. Give the swag another chance. Maybe last time you tried it was like the merchandise. I mean, I could. Rick, I'm definitely working on it. I'm definitely working on some stuff. This is really cool, Tom. You have built up the channel dailies. I'm trying. And I think it'd be cool. And like what's going to be on here as well is there's going to be a link to the Telegram so you can come over there and join us in the Telegram for free. And this is all going to be updated. There's going to be quick links down here as well. Like, let's see. There's just going to be so much stuff. I'm going to have links so if you want to join on exchanges, you can do that too. But there's just going to be so much stuff. Like, once this is evolved, you're going to be able to click into, like, the Algorand. And there's just going to be so much. It's going to be so cool. It's a work in process. I'm only on the first steps of it. But this was the first time I could really show it to everybody. So, yeah, that's where we're going with this. And I think it's going to be revolutionary. I really, really do. At least for what I do. And it's just going to keep evolving. Like I said, once my mind goes into work mode and I don't worry about anything else, I end up evolving very quickly. So thank you, everybody. What's the suggestion? Tom, I think in time. Yeah, okay, I remember that. So we'll definitely have to go with the swag. We'll definitely have to figure out the swag. But I really do think we built up something special. And I think we can continue to grow as one. I'll make sure you remember, it's in the video description of this very video, pinned. For Bitunix, if you're looking to trade, I would definitely look there. Only because the fees are so damn cheap. Fees are cheap, and you can swing trade and things like that. I'm sending your guys' ideas so that I don't forget. We should have a convention. We are pumped. We are going to. We're going to have a meetup. My plan is to do it on the Great Lakes. But, or somewhere we're going to meet up. But ladies and gentlemen, I do have to go, but in times that we don't really know what's going to happen, we have to do one thing. Some of you have been here for a long time. Some of you have not. Some of you know what time it is. I know what time it is. Do you know what time it is? Ladies and gentlemen, the sunny days are here again. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. Oh, sunny days. Oh, what a day. I wear glasses 'cause I can't see a motherfucking thing. Happy days. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. Oh, happy days. Oh, what a day. XRP will reign supreme. Let's just not buy in to the FUD. Oh, we're gonna crash and we did and we will and we won't and we may and we will and we won't and that judge a bitch and we will and we won't and they can't figure it out and we won't and we will and we did and we have and we won't and we will and we did and we won't. Oh yeah. Stay true. Stay blessed. It's not really the judge. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Like you're telling me you can't file the paperwork right? If I try to send in any kind of form and it's wrong, they immediately reject it. You see? Stay true. Stay blessed. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. When I saw this for the first time, I was like, that the fuck? What the fuck? Oh, you should have seen it back when I had no audience when I did it the first time. But